This is the Danger Close podcast, Beyond the Books with me, Jack Carr. Welcome to the Danger Close podcast, an Ironclad original presented by SIG Sauer. My guest today is Brad Leone. You might know him from It's Alive, Goin Places, just an awesome guy, a chef, an adventurer, a hunter, all around good, solid dude with an amazing story as well. We first met at the SIG Hunter Games this last June in Wyoming and had a great time together. So it was awesome to have him on the podcast. He has a new book out. This is a cookbook called Field Notes for Adventure, and a super cool cookbook. I'm gifting it to a bunch of people this holiday season. So be sure and pick this up. It just came out. We had a great time talking, and hopefully we're going to get out, hunt, fish, hang out, and cook together soon. Check him out, Brad Leone, Leone.com, and you can link to a lot of the things we talk about in the podcast to include this cookbook and knives and a bunch of other things as going on. So now, without further ado, Brad Leone. So we first met at the SIG Hunter Games.
That's right, out in Wyoming.
That was awesome. So that was a crazy little event, like 4 days, 2 days, hiking around the backcountry, going to different stations and shooting and competition. So who was on your team? I forgot.
Yeah, so it was just I'm kind of the worst with names. Okay.
Oh, don't worry.
No, you're a very easy guy to remember. There was this one guy who, what the hell he was?
Yeah, what did they do? Yeah, what was their background?
So I'll tell you, he was super nice guy. A few years older than me. I'm 36. And he was like a bow hunting television show, like on Outdoor Network and stuff like that. I believe it was called Given Right.
Nice.
Okay. And then there was this other guy, I think his name was Damien. And he was like a big time elk caller, professional like elk caller, champion and holder kind of guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Craziest story, not to go, but whatever. So like we're doing this thing. We're walking around day one, like, he's a little more of he was a little bit of a heavier set kind of fella, right? But like hardy, and like he was from New Mexico and elk hunting, he held his own. But the whole time he kept saying, my back. I kept gotta stretch my back, right? And then we're hiking day 2 or day 2 or 3. Yeah, it must have been day 2. He sat out. He's like, you know what? I'm just sorry, guys. Like he was all beat up about it. And I was like, yeah, man, you might want to get that checked out, dude. I don't know if it's like a pulled muscle, yada, yada, yada. And long story short, man, like a month after, I get a call from James Nash from Six Ranch, and the fine fellow, the gentleman passed away. He had
way.
He had a heart attack. Yeah, from that.
Ugh.
That was the pain.
I had no idea that.
Crazy.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Not to laugh. I'm just, it's just like, yeah, it was wild. And he was like the sweetest guy, man. He had kids and stuff, and yeah, it was a major bummer, and I kind of anytime, I think of that event, I can't help but kind of think of him.
Yeah, man, I didn't know that. That stuff is so scary because you never know. It's just like, gosh.
Yeah,
you just never know how much time. Yeah,
it sounded like he was getting some like kind of, medical advice that I guess wasn't the right stuff. And happens every day, I guess, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how much time you have left on this planet. It's always a reminder. There's been a few things like that recently and people are just in super great shape and eat right and do all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden gone, just never, so you never know. And obviously you never know. I mean, anything can happen. So it's always a good reminder to make sure you're doing the right things for today, setting things up for your family in the future and all that sort of thing. But don't waste a second of this time because you have one ride on this planet and you get to decide if you're going to spend that in comments on social media, being mean to people or leaving nasty reviews for things or whatever, right, or, doing something positive and moving the ball forward for
you're 1,000% right. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I try to champion myself and take pride in having a mantra of positivity. I think it's well, obviously it's, no negativity never seemed to help anything. And also, I think it's just good for everyone on a mental health level and just in general. I mean, I haven't found the downside of it for me personally. Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that I'm able to function that way. But I'm a big believer. You put it out there, and it seems to, it's been working for me so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, it totally comes across in all your videos, in your new book. Like it comes across in everything that you do, which is so much. And you make everything you do fun. and making cooking fun for people is so beneficial, because a lot of times we get these cookbooks or whatever and we're looking through and it's like, okay, it says a quarter cup of this, and I'm like stressing that I'm going to get all the right things. And then you see you, and I see you out there on your table and you're like tossing stuff in and you're like, maybe a little more of this, you know, and it's awesome. So it's so fun to watch it. It makes me, when I'm trying to make something for the family, there's a little less stressed, because I'm like, you know what Brad does? He just tosses stuff in there, you know, he makes it all fun. So it's super cool how you do all that.
Yeah, you know, the way I like to compare, well, thank you. The way I like to compare it, I mean, I don't play an instrument. I wish I did. But it's kind of like a guitar. I guess as soon as you like know like some of the fundamental chords, you could just say, you know, those are just like muscle memory. And then you could start fooling around and riffing around on it and making all these, you know, really cool noises. And I think that's kind of like food. As long as you have like a little bit of a fundamental understanding about certain proteins or this or that, a lot of it seems to be common sense, in my opinion. But then it's just intuition and experience, I guess, you know. I always like to tell people they're a lot better cooks than they usually let themselves be, or tell, you know, allow themselves to be, you know, like.
Yeah. And you know, going back to some of the positivity stuff, I wrote down something and I forgot exactly where I got it, but someone said this about your show, and they said it's part cooking show, part travel show, part pop-up video, and part continuous blooper reel. It's just awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's so fun to watch, which is super cool. But yeah, positivity's part again. You know, I think about that quite a bit, just because, you know, I'm engaged on social channels. I like to use social media to thank everyone who buys the books or tells a friend about them and all that stuff. So I try to use it that way. But if you're on it at all, you just see the negative side, because you can't avoid it, because people, whatever reason, I don't know what that is, it just like enables this negativity that, and I guess people are upset with their own lives or whatever and like to lash out, maybe, I don't know, but you can't avoid it. So you see it, and you have to take active steps to not let it affect you, because it is really amazing how one person, like, negative comment can really, like, oh man. And it gives me stuff to work with for my novels, because it gives me a little, you know, psychological insight to different people or different characters. So I get to use all that in a positive way, hopefully. But man, it's, I mean, you can use it for just like anything, you know, you can use it for good. You can use it for evil, and use it to make somebody's day, or use it to ruin somebody's day.
I mean, it's a tool, right? And it's exactly what you make of it. I love social media. Hell, it's been great for me. And, you know, the problem is, like you were saying, describing, is that it's easy to just say something. The human element of interaction has been removed on that. So it's like, you know, it's easy to be, for lack of better description, it's easy to be a bully, you know, because no one's going to punch you in the face, you know, like that's how it was when I was younger. I mean, like, if you, not that, you know, people got punched in the face all the time, but like, you know, like, but it happened, you know, and it was just like, it kept you in, you know, that kind of like, you know, but like the internet, it's just so easy to kind of blast out on someone. And even if you're dealing, a lot of it seems to be when people they're dealing with their own stuff, like you were saying, or their own kind of hate within. And, you know, it's funny, anytime social media for me has been 95% positive as far as my interactions with people. And it's great. I love it. I talk to it. It's a community, right? But like a lot of the small percentage of things that have been negative, you know, I go through I look at my messages that people send to me, and I can't get to all of them, but I look at them, and like, if I do catch a negative one, you know, say in my life, I've responded 20 times, right? I bet you 19 of them, if not 20, 19 of them were like, oh, you know, I didn't think you were going to respond. You know, I'm just, you know, blah, 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 but backpedal. And I'm just like, man, you know, what are you doing? Like, you know, I have no hard feelings, but like, you know, if you don't like what I'm doing, if you don't like that I shot a deer and you're, you know, calling me a whatever, like, then just unfollow me, man. Change the channel, you know.
There's a lot of options out there.
Just change the channel.
Yeah, I call it digital courage, you know, digital courage. Somebody's behind there instead of liquid courage at a bar back in the day. It's liquid courage or digital courage today behind that keyboard. But I oftentimes wonder if anyone's ever going to be on their deathbed and say, I wish I'd left one more negative comment, or I wish I'd left one more negative review on Amazon. That would make my life complete.
You know what, Jack? No doubt. There's definitely going to be, you know, probably 1,000 people died that way already. I wouldn't doubt. You know,
Oh no.
It's a numbers game, Jack, and I'm afraid, you know, some are just that deep with it. I think it might be their last dying wish.
Oh man. Well, dude, hey, thank you so much for sending me the book. So I bought one because I always love to support the cause, and then you sent me one, which was a surprise. I didn't know you were doing that. Thank you for signing it and sending it. But how did all this start for you? Like, did you grow up with an interest in the outdoors, or an interest in cooking, or an interest in both? Like, how did this evolve?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I was definitely had an interest in, you know, growing up. My parents were both, you know, decent, good cooks, you know, limited access to good ingredients. You know, they like to, you know, my dad and mom both did a little farming, a little gardening, and grew tomatoes and stuff like that. So like I had that exposure and respect for ingredients through that. And then my dad was into hunting and fishing. So that got me into like that, you know, protein and respect for the outdoors and just, you know, the beauty of being in it. And then having, you know, a career, a whole lifetime ago, you know, I switched, you know, I got into this food thing as I know it now. When I was like about 27 years old, I was,
oh wow,
I was doing construction and stuff like that. Before that, it was kind of a dead end situation I was in.
Were you still cooking at the same time? It's on your own? Or?
Just for, like gardening in the backyard and cooking. Yeah. And then just like swinging a hammer and being, you know, I don't know, just hanging out with losers for the most part. And, you know, it wasn't the best scenario, you know, but like I always wanted to do something more. I had a few ups and downs and, you know, highs and lows like the rest of us, you know, but nothing bad, you know. And then at 27, I was just like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. People are like, why don't you go be a chef? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. The food industry so big, you know, kind of naiveness of me. I was like, maybe I can go like develop flavors for like, I don't know, like the next ice cream sandwich or some shit, you know, like I barely graduated high school. It turns out those people are food scientists. You have to be like a doctor, but I was like, yeah, but it, you know, it made me jump, you know, and just getting into something else. And I even remember, so I took a loan out and went to a little culinary school, kind of a 6-month program, kind of a turn and burn kind of place at the time for me anyway. It was in Manhattan, and I found an apartment. Yeah, I found an apartment in Craigslist, and you know, it had like 6 roommates or something. But it was a cool spot in Brooklyn. They all ended up being really cool people. A few of them I'm still friends with, and at that time, I was going to school and then working at night at a couple of restaurants in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And then afterwards, I got an internship. You know, everyone was going to like these like big restaurants. You know, they wanted to go work with this chef and that. And I was like, I don't know, like this whole food media thing. I don't know, magazines Monday through Friday. That shit sounds way better than like working in the kitchens. You know, and like I like both, but like I wanted to get into something else. So basically, I got the internship, and then I think I was kind of had a refreshing work ethic for them as an intern, given I was, you know, almost 30 and been through some shit. And then, and then I took a job as basically like a glorified dishwasher assistant, and then just kind of worked as test kitchen and recipe development. You know, video wasn't a thing at the time, really, just very, very basic small clips that didn't even affect me. Just like overhead hands and pans. And then it started to, you know, snowball and develop. I wanted to make video, and then we shot the first video, It's Alive, where it was me making kombucha, and like it sat on a hard drive for like 7 months. You know, the bosses, they were like, you know, we can't put this out. You know, I was like, no, you're right. This is a piece of garbage. We got to delete this immediately. So, you know. But eventually they like the way, you know, a couple editor came on team, and he's been with us since the beginning, and the way we kind of chopped it up, it was fun, and it came out, and then it just kind of organically took off. And because it happened on its own design instead of in like a YouTube development office lab, you know, format, it was great because like no one messed with me. It just they just let me do my thing, and then you know, kind of just flowered into where, you know, just doing a lot of stuff.
No kidding. Yeah, there's one video I saw where you talk about that. So it was your video that started this whole thing, or was it Bon Appetit's or the restaurants? Like, where did it come from? Like to do that first video?
Yeah. So I was working for Bon Appetit magazine, and I ended up being the manager for the test kitchen. And in that space, there was a lot of different editors and people coming in and out of the kitchen, and then video started to happen. And then, they were doing real short format for Bon Appetit magazine.
Yeah. So it's not a real restaurant. It was just
Not at
for, okay. So it's just for the magazine and just for whatever
And
they're doing on their platforms.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever vertical they wanted to grow at the time.
Mhm.
It was mostly all print then. We're talking, what, 8 years ago, right? 9 years ago, some shit, 8 years ago. And it was mostly print. Print was, was the money. And then internet became a little bit more, and then video, and now, and then, people say print's dead, but whatever. I don't think it's just that kind of version of it as it was, it's just, changing. So they adapted to investing into, video and media online, digital media content. And me being just a psychopath who was good at just having fun and talking to myself at a camera, like a lunatic. And then just being able to like dive into, the fermentation and then food. And then where I really thrive is being with someone. I want to learn. Let's go make sausage. Let's go cook on a mountainside in Afghanistan with a sheep farmer if it was, possible, or whatever. Like that kind of shit for me, like that's what it's always been about. And it started to be able to, Condé Nast and Bon Appetit let me kind of go down that ways, and people were interested in it. It turns out there's a huge market around, food and education and positivity. I think so anyway. Yeah, I think so. That's the kind of shit I want to watch. So yeah. I'm trying. Let's,
Yeah, no, man, you're crushing. But so at first, were they like, all right, let's put this thing out there, and then they're like, wait, what's this video taking off? Was that the dishwasher kid? What is he doing? How do they react to it? Like, taking off and it just, almost out of nowhere once they put it out there, or you put it out there, however that happened. Were they kind of like, wait a sec, what's going on here? Who's this guy? Maybe we should take a second look at this.
I'm sure someone high up in Condé Nast was having that conversation, and with Laura or something, but like the Bon Appetit immediate family, especially at that time, and even now for that matter, it's close. And I was there for a while, and I started in the beginning when they first moved to New York, so it was all pretty a new team. They were only in New York from LA for a year before I joined, so like. Yeah, it was like a big family. You know what I mean? Like
oh, nice.
Yeah, when they were just like, yeah, of course. Like everyone wants to like hang out and like ferment things with Brad. It's fun, And so like, yeah, it just worked out.
So where did the next video, once they put that out there and it started taking off, were they like, hey, let's do a series, or how did that evolve from there?
Yeah, it was just keep going, and then it was real loose, man. There wasn't much direction or budget. It was just one guy, this guy's kid Vinny at the time. Who was filming with me, and he would just come down. I was working in the test kitchen anyway. This was the beauty of it. It's not like this anymore, and that's why the show, thankfully, in my opinion, evolved to more of a. I like the travel-y stuff. I like working outside of the kitchen. If we want to bring it back, that's fine. But I need to get out. I don't want to just do stuff in my thing. And then we've been able to work a lot outside, which is awesome. But yeah. So because I was working in the kitchen already, and things were just happening, and like. In my own time, in between downtimes during the workday, because as we all know it, if you're going through the office, whether it's a kitchen or not, well, kitchen's less, but like there's always like some downtime, and like I would always have little projects going on this little like section of the kitchen in the back there, and it just became like this thing, and they were just like just follow them around, and we did that for like a year or two at least, and then it kind of just evolved into more things, and then some clients were involved, and we got to travel and go to Hawaii and South America, and do you see how chocolate wasn't actually a fermented product, and just meet beautiful people and their families who had nothing and wouldn't stop smiling, and would have gave me the shirt off his back and split his dinner with me if we allowed it. You know what I mean? It was incredible. So like that for me, that's the next. That's what I want to continue to do. Food being a universal language.
Yeah, no, the shows are so fun to watch. I mean, you're fly fishing with Steve Ranella, Meat Eater, doing that. That was awesome. You're spearfishing out in Hawaii. That was super cool. That was amazing. What a cool experience that looked like. The octopus, the whole. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, Kimmy's a badass, man, and getting out there and doing that was incredible. And that kind of got me into. I do a bit now up by me here in, nice. I'm in coastal Connecticut on the border of Rhode Island. so yeah, meeting people like that, Steve. Hopefully we're gonna be doing a bunch more videos together, and yeah, we'll see.
Nice. And the crazy one though was the mushroom one. And the video, whatever you made with mushrooms, like I made a note of watching it, like I got to do that. Looks so good. But that was crazy going to was it a mushroom farm? I mean, you're walking into those
Yeah.
containers and that was wild. I had no idea that, the
Oh
one that
yeah,
there were
man.
so many different kinds. I mean, I knew just from the grocery store, seeing all the different kinds of mushrooms or seeing it in a recipe here or there, or having going out with someone that knows like what to pick and doing the wild ones and
It's
mixing up
insane.
different sauces and stuff. But going into that farm and seeing how they do that, how they grow them, that was crazy. Did you know about that ahead of time?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
obviously you did for the show, but had you known about it for years, or did you learn a lot by going to do that show as well?
yeah, I learned about it, over time and just being exposed to people. And, I seen it a couple times before we did that. But just, mycelium and fungus in general, it's just, it runs the world. There's more fungus than there is anything. And it's intertwined. We're more closely related to the fungus than we are to a plant. And it's just neat, man. To me, it's just, I think it's going to have a massive part of the future as far as culinary and then medicinal purposes. And it has to be intertwined. It already is. Yeah, but fungus is absolutely fascinating. It blows me away. And those shipping containers, you go in there and these farmed ones, and it's a bag with they make just like a perfect condition for this thing to flourish, this alien. And then it's misty because they have
Mhm.
the right humid, and all of a sudden, all the mycelium, all these fibers, it's like a nervous network. They're all growing in this sawdust bag. And then when the temperature gets right, they trick the humidity and the temperature and the light or whatever kind of wizardry they do. And it makes the mycelium fruit. And that's what you're just eating the sex organs at that point.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that was crazy. And I saw you could go and buy and get some. So I'm gonna buy some and make that recipe that you highlighted. That was insane. But where did the fermentation thing come from? Like, how did you even learn that was a thing? And then you're experimenting with it and talking about it, and you've kind of embraced it as one of your things that you like to discuss and introduce people to and all that. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it kind of happened like, I don't know, kind of like I didn't grow up doing it. My parents weren't like fermenters or like super crunchy or anything cool like that. Like if they fermented something, it's because they like forgot it in the garage, or whatever. So,
Right.
it
It
was
happened by
negligent.
accident.
Like, yeah. Um, and then so I think, yeah, the first time I really started to get into it was when I was working at Bon Appetit in the test kitchen, like one of the maybe the first year or two, and a lady who would come in and work freelance, sometimes a food styling, I believe she was doing. Um, she gave me a SCOBY, like a kombucha mother, and then she was like, "Yeah, Ali Nardi was the name," and she gave me this mother, and then I had these jars, and I had the space to take care of it. That's work, and whatever, and use their money to buy the tea and stuff to feed it, and it was great, and I would make kombucha for everyone, and it was awesome. That's how I fell in love with it, and I started getting good at it and making like a really nice, dialed in, bottled conditioned kombucha, and it was we would, the kitchen team, the food team, we would have a bottle every morning. It was cool. And then from there it just snowballed. They wanted me to do more videos, and I was like, fuck, I gotta learn new stuff. So, so I started learning new projects, and that's just went down that rabbit hole, and we have like 100 episodes.
That's amazing. And then the
Yeah,
hunting side of the house, like for me, food is such a great way to not just introduce people to hunting, but to introduce them to the concept of, hey, this is a normal thing to do for most of human existence. We have had to be good at a couple of things. One, fighting to defend yourself, your family, your tribe, and then two, hunting to put food on the table to feed that yourself, your family, your tribe, your community. Only very recently we've been able to outsource all those things by calling 911 or running down to the grocery store and picking a steak off a shelf and not thinking twice about where it came from. That's just the slimmest part of human existence. And I think cooking and eating, preparing food is such a great way to kind of, if someone's not a hunter or is against hunting or is against procuring your own food. It's such a good way to kind of say, hey, where did this, hey, this came from. It was out here on this mountain living this wild life, and here it is, and we're honoring it and we're eating it, and boom, boom, boom. And also maybe talk about where some of the food in their grocery store came from. Just make them think at least twice about where that came from, or where their handbag came from, or the leather seats in their car, or whatever else. But
Oh, yeah.
what have you seen as far as like, restaurants in New York City? You see some that are focused on wild game or have wild game on the menu or that sort of a thing. Is what's been your experience with that, with hunting, and with talking to people about it and introducing them to hunting or
Yeah.
starting that conversation?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think hunting got like a bad reputation, and had a bad voice for a while. Um, and, I think there were a lot of bandits probably out there, and there probably still are, who are, aren't going by the rules and regulations and aren't in it for, the respect. But I know damn well a good percentage of them are, and some of the best people I know, especially when it comes to taking care of the planet and having respect for animals and just being overall humble, kind, beautiful people, tend to be, in my opinion, a lot of them are hunter and fishermen and just outdoorsmen. It's a religion for a lot of people, and a church, and I can relate to that. Uh, and then being able to tie it into food. I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it's ancient. It's way more embedded in it than we want. And unless you're growing your own almonds and milking them somewhere, and I don't know, growing tomatoes and walking around your tiptoes and not crushing any ants, or what I'm saying, like where
Yeah.
do we stop? You know what I mean? And like, so I don't know. And like for me, there's a major contradiction in it, because like, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Sorry. But
Yeah.
like, when did we start? Like, who gave, okay, like, why do we just, how come no one gives a shit about plants? You can eat the shit out of them. That life in this universe doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you can chomp away on anything as long as it's, and I understand there's different, they take different nervous systems, and what we deem intelligent life forces in life, but like, as we're finding out, in our, big cocky human brains, is that plants and fungus and fish and other species are super intelligent, and like, I'm okay with eating all of them, but like, you gotta, because that's just, there isn't a better system yet, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, we haven't figured, I don't know. And I think at the end of the day, no one wants factory farming except for the prick doing it and making money, you know what I mean? Like, so like, people, and the responses I've gotten from being able to do some hunting, like pheasant hunting and wild boar in Hawaii, and fishing, is like, it's a respect, and it's just being transparent. Like, this is, if you're going to the supermarket and you're getting your ribeye or your salmon fillet from the Faroe Islands or whatever, you're just not seeing come on, like, it's all, it's just a little clean, it's in, no face anymore, no feathers, no nothing. This is happening on a massive scale. We 400 million pigs a year or whatever, fact check that number, but like, it's massive. So like, being able to harvest an animal, whether you're farming it yourself, and just being the accountability for what's going into it, because as we found out, the industrialization of the food system certainly had some flaws, and not the best interest for our health. It seems, in some of the aspects, is hunting going to solve world hunger? No, obviously not. But good practicing and localization of it. COVID showed that too, how fragile that big monopolized systems are. And cyber attacks, like, things need to get a little more smaller and less monopolized in certain aspects when it comes to food, right? And that also will be able to reduce the environmental impact and overall health, I believe. And you go into the supermarket and look at some of the produce and the meat, and like, we're unfortunate, don't get me wrong, that it's an option, and financially is another thing. Good food's expensive, especially when you're buying it at a supermarket. So there's a lot of problems with it, but like, I guess to wrap that question up in a way, like, yeah, I think just no one, the way it's been perceived is just, again, no one wants the bad practice. Everyone's sick of it. Let's just figure a better way out. There seems like a lot of people who are smarter at it and better at it than me that certainly are doing it. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's a big problem, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, COVID did open a few people's eyes for sure into how fragile society can actually be, and most of the world obviously deals with that. Here we're
Yeah.
insulated from a lot of that worrying about the next meal, malaria, like all these things that most of the rest of the world has to worry about. We're, fairly insulated in this country, and also makes you
Yeah,
part of the process.
people dying of starvation. A lot of people. In the world, every year, and like how much we waste. What it's like 40 or something % of all food, or something. It's like it's
Yeah,
wild.
it's insane. Yeah, there was, what was it, a book, or like 3 or 4 years ago, a book or a video movie, I forget what it was, but just talking about how much waste there is, and that's the other part about hunting. Like when we put an elk on the table out there, there's nothing's wasted because we
Right.
know where it came from and how much work went in. And that's the other part of it. Once you do it, I think once you're out there and you're doing it and you're bringing that food back and you're processing it and then you're cooking it, you're doing all those things, you're not wasting any of it. And then for me, it is shocked just actually how inexpensive some things are at the supermarket, like knowing how much went in to what we just did with a mule deer
Right.
or an elk or a moose or whatever it
Yeah.
might be, and then seeing $1.99 or $5.99. Like, amazing that it's, for me anyway, I'm like, how you had to raise that thing, you had to do all this, you had to transport it, you had to put it on a shelf, you're paying all these people at each one of those stages to get it there. I'm always like, wow, why is this only $5? I mean, it's crazy just how much goes into making that happen.
That's because they process it like a grain. It's just it's a numbers thing, and it's so scaled that they can sell you this big giant weird pork loin that's as white as a piece of paper when you cook it and has almost no fat on it. It's just like this big weird, like that's not what a pig looks like. Like I've seen some really healthy pigs, whether wild or farmed, and like, man, that sometimes it can look like steak. Like I can get nice and red and pink and beautiful fat on it. So yeah, once you once you see the light, I can't go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm being able to, and where I live is great, man. I shot 2 deer this year, and not even hunting that aggressively, and a bunch of geese and some, and we got some pheasant and some tuna. We go fishing right here and spear fishing and sea bass, and being able to just process that with some friends, and then being able to grow vegetables and stuff. I just moved up here, but in the next couple of years, man, I want to get this place where we could be, providing a lot of the food that we need through, just growing, we get great sun and soil. Like it'd be crazy not to. Good water. And then having the ocean and the land, it's just such a, it reminds me of like friends in Hawaii, right? They just have that like ocean and land that they can, really get dialed in and provide off of.
Yeah, no, the what you show in the backyard and on the videos and the show, I mean, it looks so beautiful back there, and there's so much you can do with that property. It looks amazing. Yeah, the show in Hawaii was crazy, seeing the hunt and seeing how you guys did with how you cooked that the wild boar great. And all that stuff. I mean, that was so cool to see all that. But yeah, Steve, what is it? Steve Rinella has? He has that pyramid that he calls something like the pyramid of like how people care about food. Like they don't really care about plants. Like fish is kind of is okay. Maybe a deer, but as soon as you hold up a couple other things that have been that have personalities in cartoons or whatever, then people get irate. They can.
Oh
anyway.
Yeah, bear's one, right? People. This is a whole other time. I cook the coyote. I eat coyote, man.
How was it?
I think it's great. I think I could make you coyote tacos, not even tell you, and you'd be like, "Oh, where'd you get the beef?"
Exactly. Yeah, we had bear that I got from the Gritty Bowman, so from the Gritty podcast, and he gave me a couple of years ago some canned black bear. And it sat on so I brought it home and it sat on our counter for a while, like 3 or 4 months. And my wife and I just kept looking at it. And then we had people over for a wild game dinner where we took out elk and we took out salmon that we brought back from British Columbia. We took out mule deer. We took out all these different things and had them all laid out there. And then we opened the bear and it was everyone's favorite thing. So that bear must have been just eating blueberries and, it was so good. Yeah, it was amazing. So, yeah, but that pyramid, I mean, it's a real thing. And
oh yeah,
I just got back from a moose hunt not too long ago, a month and a half or so ago, 2 months ago. And I posted about it and someone made a really nasty comment, which is fine. And I clicked on them because it was like one of those ones that gets you as you're going down. I'm thanking everybody for different things. Yeah. And I see this one nasty one. I'm like, oh. And then for whatever reason, I clicked on it. I don't usually do that. And like one of his first pictures, he's holding up a fish like this.
Stop.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't comment. I was like, I'm just gonna continue on because I can't use
Just
my time here.
whatever.
But
Yeah.
it's like, come on. It's so interesting. Like, and a lot of the people, and I always use the LA, New York example, whether that's fair or not. But people that are trying to ban hunting or supporting organizations that want to ban it because they want to save the animals or whatever, and then their house has a rodent infestation. And they
kill them all.
Yeah, exactly. Fumigated. The whole thing's covered in a tent. Yeah. They're calling, something in the house, whether it's cockroaches or it's rats or it's mice or it's whatever, that's different. But if you want to actually procure your own food, use all of it, bring it home, honor the animal, help populations, all that sort of thing, all that science that goes into it by, different organizations that are specifically focused on managing the environment, because we have humans and environment, up against one another, because we have cities and towns and all that sort of a thing. But it's just interesting to me how you can be so disconnected from the land. And it's not necessarily a healthy thing. I guess time will tell, but it doesn't seem like it's very healthy to be that disconnected from what keeps you alive. Meaning both kind of the training and means to protect the gift of life from yourself, your family, your children, and then put food on the table for them as well. So I don't think long term, especially when we see how fragile society actually can be, and how it is in most of the world, that I don't think it's that healthy to be that disconnected.
I'm no prepper by any means or anything like that, but it's just the reality, especially when I was like living in the city, like little things like, they lost power for a couple of days, or it was like a bad snowstorm. And it's like, the water turns off, like people get and there's a lot of good, don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying the dark, but like some people can get really scared and things that can get ugly. I mean, like that is a reality, things were to get serious, like food, all of a sudden, the Smiths can't, their kids, their babies starving because there's no food in this food desert of a city that we created. Like it's not, I hate to sound like this, but it's like, it's something like, why not be prepared, in a sense, or at least acknowledge that it can happen, especially something as simple as water, like.
It just seems to make sense. I mean, it's been kind of the stigma attached to being prepared, especially in this country. Other countries, you have to be, otherwise you die.
Exactly.
In this country, there's like a stigma attached to it, and because it puts you in a certain category. When
it seems to be like politicized.
Yeah, exactly. You want to have a little bit of water. You want to have a little food, maybe. All of a sudden, you're a prepper and you go in a separate category. And then next thing you know, society, something happens, and that same neighbor who put you in that category is banging on your door asking for some fresh water or some help or whatever it might be. Same thing with medical. Very recently have we been able to outsource that and not have to know how to pack a wound or put a tourniquet on or whatever it might be. It's interesting stuff to think about. But when I was watching the Hawaii episode, I love the islands, amazing out there. I'm a partner in a hunting operation on Lanai, axis deer, mouflon sheep, and the head chef at Nobu out there, like he makes this axis deer carpaccio. And so when I was watching you in Hawaii, I was like, oh man, got to have Brad out to Lanai, and it's called Pineapple Brothers out there. You stay at the Four Seasons and you hunt and get to know the culture out there and how important hunting is to Hawaii. That hunting culture in Hawaii is just so strong.
Big time.
Yeah.
Chasing those deer is something I would love to do, man. That sounds, that's been on the list for a while. But then also, I mean, like you were saying, is the hunting the pigs, like even though they're an invasive species, like, they've been there for quite some time, as far as like how they got there, right? Like, I'm not to be a history guy, but I believe, to my understanding, right, like when folks traveled, right, they think from Polynesia or so, right, or back in the day, like that's how pigs they've been hunting pigs for a very long time in Hawaii, right? And I think it's just such a integrated part of their culture, and I would love to go out there and do some more hunting and just some of I just really dug. I got to spend I fell in love with the Big Island. But I've only been to the Big Island and Oahu. But I mean, it was just it's an incredible spot.
Yeah, each island has its own personality. It's so cool to go to the different ones, and I want to hunt the other ones as well. I just keep going to Lanai because of the connection there. But yeah, each
Yeah,
island
I
has
think
its
that's a
own.
good idea.
Yeah, each island seems to have its own personality. I want to see if that personality extends to hunting. Kind of go into like I haven't done any hunting in Europe really, but I want to do that too to see the different hunting cultures over there because it's obviously so old, dates back so far. But each one has like a little bit different tradition attached to it
Sure.
over there, like how they respect the animal. I'm interested in kind of, also some of the laws surrounding it or whatever, how that all works. Because it came from a totally different place than it did. I mean, it was the king's deer over there. Right. And so
Right.
over
Right.
here, we made sure that wasn't the case. It's everyone had access to this resource that could help, keep them alive. But, yeah, man, it'd be awesome to have you out and do that. I think that'd be super fun. And what was like the crabbing one? Like, what was that experience like? And do you still go out there? Can you do that where you are?
No, different type of crab, but yeah, Alaska, man. Oh God, I got to go up there a couple times, and I haven't been back in a while. It's like Hawaii. It's very high on the list, and hopefully get up there. Hopefully get to both these places for fun, and then also I would love to go up there and do some more videos and do more work. I think there's really great stories to be told. But yeah, that was incredible, man. We were in Juneau, and we woke up in the morning and we had to go. We were going to go catch a seaplane at the airport, and it was too cold to take off for a while. We had to like wait for a couple hours in the airport until it hit like I forget what the number was, but it was like it was literally like say it was like 19 degrees, right? Like it was like 17. They're like, nope, maybe another 40 minutes, like, and I was just like, I'm like, I'm not rushing it. You guys know better
Yeah,
than me, but like, really, like 1 degree, like,
yeah.
and so we get in the seaplane and we go out in the middle. Beautiful, man. Just going through, you seeing it's just such big, bold country, right? And we were flying for a while. And we landed this little, little cove, like very Alaskan kind of coastal setup. Just a little town of like I don't know, 30 people in a dock. And we land there, and then all of a sudden, this big boat came over, picked us up. That was the crabbing boat, and we crabbed all day. And I worked with the crew all day. It was fun, man. It was, it was a beautiful day, and there was like no rough seas at all. It was like flat as a lake. It was ridiculous. The crew were like, "Man, screw this! Is almost like we almost wish it was a little rougher because it's like too nice. It's never
Oh
like
yeah,
this."
you're getting the wrong
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah. So and so we did that all day, and then this big tender boat came and picked up the crabs, and they refueled, and we took the boat ride back. I think it was like 12-hour boat ride back to Juneau, and it was awesome, man. We cooked crabs on the deck. I wish we filmed that. They had this cat. It was like a movie, like we cooked them on the deck, and then we sat in this cabin of this big old ship, just like shrugging back to Juneau, and it was like it was like Jaws. It was like this old, like big, like U kind of thing, and these guys sitting there, like these old. The one guy was, the one guy was from Hawaii. The other guy, people were from all over the place up there crabbing for whatever reason. They ended up in Hawaii, up there in Alaska on this boat. And I was like, man, this is like this. I wish this was part of the episode. And then we got back, and that was that. Man, it was cool.
Oh man. What's on the agenda for this next year? Like, you have some trips planned to some exotic locales that you can talk about, or is it all top secret till they drop, or how do you, and where are they? Are they on 3 different places or 2 different places, or on YouTube, Bon Appetit, your website? Like, where are all these shows?
Yeah.
Where's their home?
For right now, it's all I work for Bon Appetit, and they own the intellectual property of the show, like It's Alive or Going Places, where we ferment and travel, and the shows we're talking about. And that's on YouTube. It's also on like the streaming apps, like Hulu or I'm not, stuff like that.
Got it.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
love
for
that you
sure.
don't know exactly where your own, hit show is.
Yeah, but it's YouTube. I guess because I don't really watch shows on YouTube, so it's like, it's kind of like, I guess we're trying. Netflix would be cool. Maybe one day we'll get there, and hopefully we'll have a bunch of collaborations coming up this year and into the future. Because for me personally, I just feel like I've grown a lot with this whether it's, I mean, hell, making a book or videos or just storytelling. I feel like I've grown and matured a lot with it, and I personally feel like just getting started. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on. Yeah.
Don't I feel like that too? Because
Trying.
it's because people want more. I want to see more. I want to see you go more places and talk to more people
Cool.
and learn a little about the culture through your experience and learn a bit more about food preparation and care of the animal in the field and kind of learn along with you, which is so valuable. And speaking of that, what things have you learned by going out there and hunting as far as what's so important as far as taking care of that meat in the field that before you bring it back? Like what are some of the more important aspects of that for the hunters that are listening or for those that are thinking about getting into this?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't really, shoot much that I'm not hunting to eat, whether it's in the ocean or on land. And for, I just the easy part and, is sitting in your tree stand or walking around and taking out your cool gun or bow and arrow that you spend a lot of money on or didn't or whatever. And like what I'm getting at is like, and it's not that it's easy. I practiced my ass off for it, and it took a while to get good at shooting, whether a gun or a bow. But killing is almost the easy part. Like the work begins after when that animal, is making sure you get a good placed, kill, and then, breaking it down and having that respect where, like you kill an animal and then you see, in the movies where it's, it's just sitting in the back of the truck, and, just whatever. I always treat it like it's top priority. Like this, like even the ribs of the deer or the neck to me, it's like I get as excited about that as like someone with like a big ribeye,
Yeah.
and like I got venison neck stew I'm making tonight, and
Nice.
built a little walk-in fridge in my little barn area, and being able to like hang and process and do my own meat and vegetables in there. It's been a game changer, man. But so for fish, I think the biggest thing is like kill it quick when you get it on deck, cut the gills, get the blood out and get it cold, treat it like it was treat it like it was Toro, even I treat sea robin like it was, sushi grade tuna, you know what I mean? Like everything, it's only as good as how you're going to treat it. Same with, mustard greens, you pick it and beat it up, it's going to go to hell. And like an animal certainly does the same thing. So just being able to learn, and I still am, on how to process it the best, but get the blood out of that fish, get it cold, get it, and then from there, if you're gonna freeze it, I don't really freeze fish too much, a little bit, but you can certainly do not as long as red meat, but you can, is freeze it properly. I like that, I like to do the vac bag. I know a lot of folks are pretty solid with red meat and stuff. I know a lot of guys like the freezer paper, the wax freezer paper. Just but just doing it right, not just throwing it in a Ziploc and forgetting it. Like I said, killing the animal is the easy part, but respecting and utilizing it all, that's the responsibility, and that separates, I think, in my opinion, the real hunters from the hacks.
Nice, man. And you have a lot going on. So like, what the knives? Like you have these knife designs that you have out there that are awesome that I'm going to get because I'm a big knife guy with the Huckberry collaboration. What are those all about? Like, how did you come up with that?
Yeah, so that's a kind of a neat story, man. I mean, it's a very approachable knife as far as the price point goes, and it's just a workhorse of a blade. It was this old knife I found in a bus tub when I was working when I first started at Bon Appetit, and it was neglected, and it was all chipped up, and no one cared. Not a very expensive knife, back then, brand new. It was probably $50, but it had decent steel and a nice handle. And it was this big, like teardrop kind of weird shaped blade, by weird, I shouldn't say weird because it's probably one of the most utilized blade shapes in the world. It's kind of like a Chinese, fish cleaver kind of thin blade, just a workhorse, you know what I mean? Like, and so I found it, and I like sharpening knives, and I like metal. So I fixed this thing up and made it razor sharp, and it became my knife. I started using it on videos, and it ended up being a discontinued model that this company Lamson makes up in Massachusetts, one of the oldest, arguably the oldest knife company in America. And people started reaching out to him, being like, "Hey, we got to get more. We got to get more. Where can you bring this knife back?" And this one guy reached out to me. I forget what his name was on social media. I don't know how I found his message. Like I said before, I just randomly check him, and it was this guy. He's like, "Hey, I work at Lamson. We want to work with you. Let's bring this knife back." And I think I even blew him off twice, and he followed up with me, and then he was like, "Yeah, and we'll cut you in on a commission of it, and we can put your name, but yada yada yada." And they ended up being really nice folks, I've been working with them for a little while where we brought that back and we customized the handle a little bit and, same blade and put my name on it. And we've been selling the hell out of them. It's a great knife. And it's like, I think it's like $60-$70 and like buy two, beat the hell out of one. You know what I mean? And like, it's still, knives, knives, you can spend a good amount of money on a knife.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm well aware.
Oh, yeah. That's a rabbit hole like anything else. So, I think and don't get me wrong, I got, knives that are, freaking amazing, that I hardly even use because I just, it's ridiculous. I have so many knives. But I use some of my like cheaper, quote unquote, cheaper knives. I use the most, and like, don't care if I ship it doing something and so that's been a fun collaboration. And hopefully I'm going out to Oregon in a couple of days. Portland, Oregon. We're doing a little book tour out there with my buddy Elias from Olympia Provisions. Great guy, man. We're doing some really cool stuff together. We got a really cool product collaboration coming out in the future. Nice. I'll have to send you some because I think it's just a game. It's going to be the next bacon, man. It's
nice.
It's basically it's basically Taylor ham or pork roll, something from New Jersey where I grew up. You might not even be familiar.
Pork roll. Yeah,
Never heard of it.
I think I've heard of pork roll, but if you explain it to me, maybe I'll be like, okay, that's what it is.
Even better if you haven't, because I think the market is just so big, and like so it's this really delicious, really shitty pork product, smoked, salty, tangy. It's it's this big around, comes in like this cloth cylinder bag. You cut it open, and I've been cooking it, and it's in every deli in New Jersey since I've been alive. And it's made in Trenton, New Jersey. There's only two companies that make it: Taylor ham and Trenton pork roll. And you cut it thin and you cook it. It's like a bologna, but it's always been this shitty pork. Like you eat it, it's delicious, but you don't feel good about it. You don't actually feel good after.
Yeah.
But like, so I'm teaming up with Elias, and he gets amazing pigs. He does great stuff. He's a master, and especially with sausage. And I was like, if there's anyone who can help me make a really good pork roll, Taylor ham, it's freaking Eli. So he nailed it, man. And I think we got the formula down and the bag and everything. So I think we're putting it out. I think we're going to be releasing it in the next week or so.
Nice.
I have to send you some. It's
awesome.
Great, man.
Awesome. So that'll be before this podcast drops. So we'll put it wherever, show notes and all that stuff. That's awesome. And where do the people find those knives? Was it on your website? I know I was looking at it on the other day, but I forget exactly how I linked to it.
It might be. I think it says you go to Lamson. Lamson Sharp. Yeah, Lamson. And they'll pop up there. The Lamson Sharp Cleaver.
Nice. Yeah, there's ones behind me. I don't know if you can see them. So those are from Pennsylvania in the 1800s. And New West Knife Works, they go around looking for these things at, antique sales and garage sales and that sort of thing. And they find these old ones and they trace back the history to the company and when it was made. And then they refurbish them.
Very cool.
So, so I got those. Yeah. So the middle one there, that cleaver, I've used it the last 2 years on the turkey to spatchcock it to take the spine out. And then, can open it up a little bit and put it on the birch barrel. You can put it on anything really, but it kind of gets that fire and smoke in there. And oh my gosh, it's been so good.
Great, right?
But I love using those things. It's just so the history, Pennsylvania,
it's a tool, man,
steel in the 1800s. It's just, I
love it too. I grew up right in northern New Jersey. We're bordered up against Pennsylvania and New York on the Delaware Water Gap. Appalachian Trail came through, a beautiful area. And I always thought Pennsylvania, it was a neat spot, man. Some of my favorite memories are from Pennsylvania. I have a chapter in the book that talks about it too. But that thing's neat, man. That one to my left of it, a big old hog splitter.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. That's a hog splitter. Yeah. Right there. I want to see one. I haven't seen anybody use one though. I want to see somebody
get a hog. I'll show you.
Yeah, I want to see somebody use that back in the day. I don't know if were they hanging? How did they do it? Is it hanging or what is it? How do you use that thing?
Yeah, you're hanging and just use your imagination, man. They just right down you're just like cutting a chicken, but a pig. Try to go straight down the side. Guys were good at it. You do it 400 times a freaking week or something,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I want to use it in a book. I think someone needs to I need to use that on a bad guy in one of my novels back there. That's probably going to happen at some point. I feel like it's energy, coming off that wall.
If you ever need someone on your really cool, awesome show coming out on Amazon, which I'm stoked for, if you need a bad guy, you can cut my freaking arm off with that. All right, like, sign me up. I'm ready.
Awesome. I'll remember that. I'll let the Amazon producers know for season 2. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got great arms for cutting.
And so sous vide. Am I saying that right? Sous vide. Is that how I'm saying it?
Yeah, sous vide.
I have not tried that yet, and I've been meaning to for years. And you're a fan of using that method, aren't you?
Yeah. I think you'll love it too, man. Especially for certain things. I mean, it's basically just control, right? So you have something in a bag or in a vessel where you can submerge it in a water bath with a circulator and keep it at just a consistent temperature, and you can get just really consistent, awesome results with things. It's different. It's not exactly the same as texturally. It's like you could do a chicken breast perfect just traditionally in a skillet, and you can also do one sous vide and then crisp it up, and they'll look similar and they'll both be amazing and juicy and tender and delicious, but they are a little different.
Yeah.
I think it's great for ribs. I do it in the book with ribs, like tougher things like that, where I use it in the book for where like you take a rib, you sous vide it with some flavor profile, which you can also use to make a sauce with. And I go hiking back in the woods, you go cook it by a waterfall or something. You have like perfectly tender ribs that you can just crisp up the outside, and it's like you were cooking them back there for 5 hours.
Oh, nice. I like that. I'm going to give that a shot for sure. And then where did the idea, obviously it's a natural progression of things to make an awesome cookbook like this. But how long did you think about it before you did it? And then how did you choose what went in and what didn't? Like, how did this come about right here? And it's awesome. It's called Field Notes for Food Adventure, which is a great title, and I love the picture on the cover because it's just like, it says fun. It's not just like some food on the cover. It's like, that's you, man. That's so awesome. So congratulations on this, by the way. It's so awesome. And I'm gifting it to a bunch of people for the holidays. But how did this come about?
Yeah. So, I mean, man, I was kind of a pro, I had no intentions really. I mean, maybe one day. It seems like a lot of freaking work and I don't really have the time. And, I said no to a couple people. I wasn't shopping around a manuscript or doing anything like that. And then, Little Brown, this guy, Michael, he's the editor. He's my current editor. He's great. And he got and my book editor, Janice, they got me on the phone a couple times. I said, no, sorry guys, maybe another time. I think Janice got a little more money out of the deal. And then just creative freedom. They're like, just do whatever you want. And I'm just like, all right. And then I had my buddy Pat, who's from Nebraska, who I met in Brooklyn, and we're like best buds. And he doesn't even shoot food, but he takes beautiful, beautiful photos. And he shot it with me, and like we got to go on all these trips together, and just it was really, really neat, man. And it took 2 years, and it happened all basically during COVID, and it was just it was a pain in the ass a lot, but it was one of them things where it's like I knew it was going to be hard, but I also knew it was going to be really awesome and worth it.
Yeah, no, it's super, super cool. Love the photos. Love that it's gives some history in here, and it's not too like intricate. It's like I feel like I could do a lot of these. It's not intimidating. Yeah. Because some cookbooks can get like, oh man, gee, what kind of recipe? What do you need? Where does that weird thing come from? How do I even find that? And then it's not in the grocery store or whatever, like some spice, and you're like, oh, it's not going to work. But what's great here, you can, just like watching your show, if I don't have something exactly here, I'm not too worried about it because I've seen your show and how you're just like, let's do a little this instead. Right. And it's totally fine. But all this stuff looks so good. So thank you for doing this. I think it's going to be awesome, and it's coming out at a perfect time as well. So that thing is just awesome, man.
Try the squid, cook more squid. It freezes great. It's taking over the ocean, and it's just a perfect protein, low in mercury. Only it doesn't live long. It's good on pizza. It's good in pasta sauce. There's a whole chapter about it in the book.
Awesome.
And man, like when it came to the book, I didn't even, just to finish up real quick with the recipes, like I'm not a recipe guy. I'm like, you want how many recipes? Like, I don't even cook with recipes, just like, so there's like, for me, it's just like, here's some recipes I got. Listen, I could write 1,000 recipes, right? But like, here's some recipes that I like, some guidelines. Change them if you want. Just get and here's like I was saying, here's the chords to some simple things. Do whatever you want with them. Like cook.
Yep. Experiment. And, you're not going to mess it up because
you might.
Yeah,
right. And then try again, and you won't do it again.
Learn. And but seeing you on the show and how you do it, you're definitely using that baseline knowledge to do all sorts of things on the fly, which is so cool. So that makes me so much more confidence when I'm in there trying to follow a recipe and not mess it up. So super cool, man. And congratulations on this and the show. And is it 2 shows now? Is that?
It's kind of, it's a little confusing, to be honest. It's Alive, and then there was this thing called It's Alive Goin Places, which we don't, It's Alive. Just look up It's Alive for now. That's what we're doing. And I have a show called Taste Buds, where I interview celebrities, and it's like a food journey where we try different things from around the world. It's fun, it's just good, clean fun. It's a different type of format, but like my heart and soul is in like what we were talking about, the food exploration, the learning with people, the learning about people, the bringing people together kind of thing. Yeah, really just bringing people together.
And food's a great way to do that. And on the celebrity one, you had Paris Hilton on recently, I saw.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart, man. And we explored berries together. We learned, we laughed. She had beautiful lace gloves. I didn't. But if we ever work together again, I'm showing up with lace gloves.
Nice.
If you're listening.
There you go. I'm sure she's listening. Sure she doesn't miss an episode.
She is.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. No, congratulations. And I can't wait till we link back up again. Maybe we do, we'll touch base about Leone or something. And it'll be really cool to get out there with you and get you in the back of Nobu and see how get you in the kitchen back there and see what they're doing, I guess, maybe do a little collaboration there. I think that'd be fun. And then just hang out there.
Even make some videos and then hang out too, man. That sounds like a blast. Let's do something, bud.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, you're on book tour. So once again, hey man, congratulations on this. It was so fun to get to hang out at the SIG event in Wyoming this last year. And hopefully we'll get to link up and hunt, fish, or hang out and make some meals here together soon.
Absolutely. Thanks again, man. And it's been great chatting with you and getting to know you, and looking forward to doing some more stuff down the line.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Congratulations again. And we'll talk soon.
Man. Yeah, we'll talk later.
All right. Later, brother. Today's gear highlight segment is brought to you by 10,000. Now, 10,000 is an athletic apparel company. They make, hands down, the best training workout shorts that I've ever worn. And I've worn quite a few over my time, both before the military, in the military, and today. I've been wearing their 7-inch tactical short, which is these ones right here, and they're interval shorts that I'm wearing right now. But these things are incredible. And I've been putting on the pack, heading up into the mountain. I've been running. I've been throwing the kettlebells around. And as I continue on to get back in shape here, this is my short of choice. I love it so much that I'm going to get all the other stuff that they have out there as well. You can find them 10,000.cc online, and also Instagram 10,000.cc there as well. But I'm looking forward to trying out their shirts and all the rest of the stuff they have going on there. And I wanted to read their brand ethos because it's very close to what I think about each and every day. And here it is. It says, at the heart of 10,000 is a stoic dedication to continuous improvement. Every day faster, every day stronger, every day better than yesterday. And hashtag better than yesterday is their hashtag on Instagram, which I absolutely love because that's always the goal, to do it better than we did it yesterday, to learn from what we did yesterday and do it better going forward. Turn those lessons into wisdom. And that's what I try to do with the kids as well, is pass some of that along to them. We don't believe in overnight success, miracle drugs, cure-alls, quick fixes, or shortcuts. We believe in works in progress. We believe in the value of our failures. We believe in dusting off and getting back up. We believe in grit, tenacity, and grinding. Yes, absolutely love that. These shorts, I just want to make sure I get this right. Ultralight ripstop fabric, tough as nails waistband, permanent anti-odor treatment, no bounce pocket, medium compression, anti-chafe liner, side slits, and 4-way stretch for maximum range of motion. Yeah. What all that means is that these are awesome shorts. 10,000 makes gear specific to other types of training, from running to Olympic lifting to boxing. You can also find a short for all the ways you train. Pick up the short that is best for your training and then personalize it with custom liner and inseam options. So awesome. Definitely check them out online. They have free shipping and free returns and a lifetime guarantee. And I'm going to read this call to action because you can get 15% off your purchase if you remember this. So write it down. 10,000 is offering our listeners 15% off your purchase. Go to 10,000.cc and enter code DangerClose15 to receive 15% off your purchase. Once again, that is DangerClose15 to receive 15% off your purchase. That is 10,000.cc and enter DangerClose15. Awesome. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know I'm a bit of a watch person. Not exactly sure where that comes from, but ever since I was a little kid, I've been fascinated with watches, how they work, but I think more so what they represent, time. And there's only a certain amount of time that each and every one of us has on this planet, and we get to decide how we're going to spend that time, how we're going to influence those around us. So it's a gift. Each and every second is a gift, which is probably why I'm also big on protecting that gift. Your own life, your family's lives, community, just being prepared. But the time aspect. So I've always just been a watch person. And I found out about Seaholm. So SEAHOLM, and they're at seaholmautomatic.com. And great website, great Instagram. But I found out about these guys through my friend Fred Burton, who has also been on the podcast, author of Beirut Rules and a bunch of other amazing books. Great guy. But definitely follow Fred, follow Seaholm, and check out what they have going on. But they sent me this. It was so nice and very cool. I love when companies are creative with how they package. And if you've seen some of my novels during launch week, go out there, you'll see how that's impacted me. But look at that. You got a compass in there, super cool. And it unscrews at both sides of this case. And inside, I also love how they package it here. But yeah, boom, you open this thing up. So you get a leather case here. And I also love when watches come with the tool to change out straps and that sort of thing. So it has this tool that it comes with, has an extra band in there. And then here is the watch. So SEAHOLM. So thank you guys so much for sending this my way. Sincerely appreciate it. And I saw you had a bunch of other watch straps on the website. So I'm probably going to get a couple different ones from the website as well. And have a few that I can switch out because I have this handy tool. So awesome. Seaholm, thank you so much. They're in Austin, Texas as well. So very cool. What else do I have here? Blades. So look at this thing. This right here, handmade cane knife from Down the River Forge. So look at that thing. Man, handmade. So Stephen Bateman, thank you so much for sending this. Yeah, handmade, Down the River Forge. You can find them downtheriverforge.com. Follow them also on Instagram, Down the River Forge. But look at that thing. That is serious. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets hacked up in one of my novels with something like this. But very cool. Stephen, thank you so much for sending it. It means a lot. And yeah, if you've been following me for a while, you also know I have maybe a little thing for blades. So very cool. Awesome. All right. That concludes this segment of the gear highlight portion of the Danger Close podcast. Thank you for tuning into the Danger Close podcast, an Ironclad original presented by SIG Sauer. For more on Brad Leone, go to bradleone.com. That's Leone.com. Click to his social channels from there, Instagram and everything else that he has going on. You can also link to his knives, to this cookbook, and check out his show as well. It's super fun and inspires you to get out there and cook and not be afraid to make mistakes as you're doing it. So super cool. If you want to follow me, you can do so at officialjackcarr.com. Link to all the socials. jackcarrusa.com is the merch, and it's Jack Carr USA on the social channels as well. My latest novel is coming out this May, In the Blood. You can pre-order that wherever you get your books. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, be strong, keep fighting. I am so fired up to be able to talk to you today about Aimpoint. I talk about Aimpoint all the time anyway. If you followed the novels, you know they're on a bunch of the M4s that my protagonist, Navy SEAL sniper James Reese, uses. And that might be because I used them in the military and out of the military still today. Amazing company, great people over at Aimpoint. They've been the leader in red dot sight technology since 1975. So they know what they're doing, both on the tactical side of the house, citizen self-defense side of the house, hunting side of the house. Check out their website. Go to Aimpoint and check them out. They've got so many great things. But today, I'm going to talk about this. This is the Comp M5S right here, 2MOA. And I love this thing because what does it take? A triple A. So for me, I love batteries that can work on a whole bunch of different things, from headlamps to your red dot optic to whatever. But you don't really need it for this, because once you put one of these in here, it's 5 to 8 years that this thing is going to last turned on. So awesome. But if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am a big proponent of putting a couple things on your AR, or really any AR type weapon system that you're going to be using. One of those is a red dot. This is the micro from Aimpoint right here, but a red dot sight. Magnifier is nice to have as well. Put the backups on there just in case. And of course, a light and a sling. So if I was going to distill it down to just a couple things, Aimpoint red dot sight, light, sling. So that is a solid setup right there. But this one right here, so you can tell it is almost the same size as the micro, if you can see that. Boom, right here. But the Comp M5S 2MOA, this one is going on my future ARs. And I'm actually in the process of building one right now. When I finish my next novel, I'll take a breath and get that fully set up. But this is what is going on that rifle. And I've been using them obviously for a long time. If you've read the novels or been following me on social channels or whatever it may be. But this is Afghanistan right there. And what is on my M4? That's right, an Aimpoint. Hey, look at that beard. But, and then this, some of you will recognize where this is taken, also in Afghanistan, but the specific place. And you can see that right there. What's on the rifle? That's right, an Aimpoint. So very cool. And Aimpoint's doing an awesome thing right now where you can get a signed copy of The Devil's Hand with any purchase of the Comp M5S or a micro. So very cool. Check them out. Go to aimpoint.info/Jack Carr, CARR, and use the checkout code Jack Carr. So if you want a signed copy, I get questions all the time about where people can get signed copies of the novels. Well, you can get one at Aimpoint if you're setting up your rifle with one of these two red dot optics. So awesome. AAA battery, amazing, super long lasting, obviously huge benefits to that. And Aimpoint, trusted name in optics, reliable, proven, trusted. I am a huge fan of this company. Obviously, I go back to my first novel, second novel, third novel, fourth novel, and hey, the fifth novel that I'm working on right now just happens to have an Aimpoint on it as well. So check them out. Once again, aimpoint.info/Jack Carr for details, and use the code Jack Carr at checkout. So Aimpoint, thank you so much for all you have done for me over the years, for the military over the years. I think it's 1.5 million red dot optics that are in use by the United States military right now. Obviously an incredible product that you can trust, that I trust. So thank you for all you do. And I am super fired up to get this on my next rifle build.